Hello and welcome to DieCastRestos. It's Jason here with the 27D Mercedes 230 SL. This model was in the range from 1966 until 1971 and became part of the Superfast range in 1970. I'll be restoring this model today back to its former glory. So what you can see here is a model missing its windscreen unit. The paintwork has been very badly scratched. It's very patchy in places, especially on the bonnet area and the doors. The interior is in good condition, just needs a good clean up. It retains its tow hook at the back, and the doors are still in good working order. The spring for the doors was incorporated into the plastic bases on these earlier models. The later ones went back to the traditional leaf spring method. And first up, I'll use my rotary tool to remove the wheels from the axles. And once they've been removed, I will pop the axles into my battery drill to polish them up. Next, I'll use a 5mm drill bit to remove the rivet. And then the base can be removed from the rivets. There is two, one at the front and one at the rear. And after coaxing away, you can see the interior parts, which also form part of the suspension. I use a 1.5mm drill bit to drill down the rivet posts, ready for threading. So the model is based on a second generation Mercedes-Benz SL class, designated the W113. These were built between 1963 and 1971. Now the W113 was nicknamed the Pagoda due to its hardtop roof, which obviously the model is lacking here. Now here I'm just removing some of the paint from the bodywork in my paint stripper. And the doors have also gone in to have their paint removed as well. Next step will be to polish up the base using a wire wheel. The trim was never painted on these models due to the base incorporating the front fascia of the model, and also the bumper for the rear brightwork. Now I'll move on to applying some auto sol to the base, ready to polish it up. And then again I'll use my rotary tool with a buffing pad. Here I've extended it a little more, it was a bit close to the actual rotor. And here you can see the transformation of the front end. It really looks better with just minimal amounts of polishing. This is a classic and timeless design that Mercedes incorporated, and it's definitely up there as one of my favourites. Now it's time to clear out the crud that's been caught up in the interior. So I'll give it a brush with a toothbrush in some warm soapy water. And then afterwards I'll do the same with the plastic wheels. So the pre-Superfast models of the 27D were generally varying shades of white, so they were often cream and off-white, except for a very rare pre-production prototype which came in a light green colour. They always had this red plastic interior, which incorporated a tow hook, and had the clear plastic windscreen attached as well. Now today I've had to purchase a replacement windscreen from model-supplies.co.uk, and here I am just applying some of the Nuln Oil Gloss Citadel to the wheels. Once that's done I can tap those wheels back onto the base using a hammer, and then I paint up the ends of the axles using the ink from a chrome paint pen, and just applying it with a paintbrush on these small areas. Once the paint has been removed from the body, I pick away at the remnants using a dental tool. I'll speed up the process a little bit here. In my upcoming videos I'm going to be using quite a bit more of the caustic soda. This is mainly down to the fact I often leave the paint to strip overnight just as a last thing before bed kind of effort. Here I'm polishing up the bodywork to remove those imperfections and prepare it all ready for priming. This model was in really good nick actually, considering its age again. And just missing the windscreen, pretty minor replacement to be honest. Next up I will apply the Tamiya Fine Surface Primer in light grey. I'm using a more careful approach at the moment. I feel like I've been a bit wasteful in previous videos, just sort of blindly applying a hell of a lot of the primer. So here's a bit of a close-up of the model with the primer applied, looking a great deal better than it started out. You can see the ridges in the bonnet. And here I'm just applying some of the primer to the doors. Next, thanks to the British summertime weather, I am back in my garage to apply the paint. This is the last of the Tamiya PS1 polycarbonate white. I'll move on to using some more of the gloss in future videos, just using up what I had left over. Still comes out very nice, but I do need to apply a coat of the TS13 clear. And again, the doors get the same treatment. Here's the replacement windscreen I'd purchased. Just giving it the old Astonish polish treatment. This gives it a really nice shine, makes it really pop, even though it is a new window unit. You can definitely see the difference between them once it's been polished up. I'll leave that to dry under a little shot glass there. And now it's time for reassembly. So once that window is back and dry, I push it down over the original rivet post. It's a nice tight fit. And then the interior goes over the rear rivet post there. Here the doors go back in. Well, I block the view a little bit here, but you can see the door goes back into the bodywork and just pushes in where the plastic acts as a spring. It's a really good way of doing it, I think, but some of the doors might sometimes be a little stiffer that way and the plastic a bit more brittle. So then I reapply the base, I screw that in place, and then we are ready for the transition. So what we started off with was this dull looking, scratched up, windowless Mercedes SL, ripe for a restoration. Luckily all the components were there other than the windscreen, so that was easy enough to replace. Paintwork in the kind of original off-white colour, but I've gone for a pure white as a replacement for it. I could have also used something like the Tamiya TS7, which is the racing white, slightly more similar to the original, but I just fancied a bit of a change on this one, so I went absolutely pure white. Needed a clean up, there's a lot of grime on that interior that had collected. And now we can see what she looks like now. A nice new lick of paint. I'm quite aware that the windscreen looks like it's quite flat. It clipped onto the actual model itself quite nicely, but I wasn't aware that the original ones were this low. But besides that, I'm quite happy with the general results. The doors are all in good working order again. The interior is nice and clean. The front end is really nice, all polished up again. The clear coat gives it a good shine on the bodywork. That was 3 coats of the PS1 that I'd used originally, followed by a coat of the TS13, so quite a substantial amount of paint really for these models. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and check out my Patreon. And I'll see you again for the next one. Bye for now.